find someone that's more successful than what you're doing and apply it to your life. As simple as that. If someone it's all about networking.
Yeah.
And that's how I started my career. I was in college, and I asked people who is more successful than you. I got a story if we have time for it. I can share with you.
Yeah, go for it, please.
So when I was in college, I had a commitment one day to. It was a school project, and they said, "Hey, do a project." It was a business class. Do a project, and they didn't have any requirements. They just said it was entrepreneurship class. Create a project. So I said, "All right, my project's going to be I'm going to meet a bunch of successful people," but I had to lay out how I was going to do it. So my task was ask someone who's more successful than you for an introduction every single day. So I first started out where it was me asking my teachers if they knew anyone that they could introduce me to. So they would introduce me to their other colleagues. And that went so far, but it really, it actually started with me. I would ask my friends, I said, "Hey, can I speak with your parents to learn about what they do for their work?"
Yep.
And then I would go have an hour lunch with them and ask them questions like, tell me about what you've done for a living and how you got there. Do you like it? What's made you the most successful? Give me one little nugget I can write down for my life. So I would get that. Then I would ask them, okay, client, or not client, but father of my best friend, can you introduce me to one person who's more successful than you? And that was the one question I had to ask them. Who is one person you can introduce me that's a little bit more successful than you? So those parents would introduce me to their parents, and then their boss, and then I would meet the boss's boss, and then the boss's boss would introduce me to their executives, and then eventually I would meet the owners of the company. Well, throughout this journey, there was eventually one person that, as I did this, I asked them, I was like, "Hey, do you have someone that's more successful than you that I could be introduced to?" And he says, "Sure, let me reach out to some people, and you may or may not get a phone call in the next few weeks." And I said, "Great." Well, I completely forgot about it, and then I got a random call, and it said Office of the United States President. I was like, "That's interesting." I was like, "What is that?" So I was like, "All right, this is probably a scam call." So I swiped it, and I put the phone up to my ear, and it says, "Please hold for the Office of the United States President." And then it was a secretary of the United States, former United States President. It was one of the former ones. It says, "Hi, one of the former United States presidents would like to," and I'm not saying his name for privacy purposes. It says, "Would like to meet with you for lunch." And I was like, "What? This is crazy." So they said, "All right, can you be free at this time next week?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I took the day off of my last year of my class, and I drove up to go see him. And so social secret security is everywhere. You make one little movement, all these heads pop, and you're just like, guys from the newspapers are looking around in the corner. So I met with him, and the number one, and I asked him, I was like, same thing, who's more successful than you that you could introduce me to? And then he was like sending me like Mark Cuban's business partner's address and his other people that are like millionaires and billionaires, and that's how I got to start meeting high net worth individuals that had these strategies that I could learn and write them down. And that's how we then grew our business. We learned from the most successful what they did, and then just applied it to my personal life, built the team around me that could support this, and then now we go out and help people do the same thing. And that's what I find is the biggest thing, is just go find people that are more successful. Success isn't that hard. You just have to go replicate what's already been done. Not a secret. Just find someone that's more successful than you, take their advice, and actually apply it. The moment you don't apply someone's successful advice, maybe that isn't smart. I think that you should, if it's already a proven path, you should do it. And then you can tailor it toward who you are and maybe a little more about yourself later. But first, do what's already proven, and then you can kind of change up the the formula to it later. But that's the thing, is just go find people that have already done it. It's not a secret, and most people are willing to share what's made them successful.